These are the Birkenstock Bostons, but you probably already knew that. They've been incredibly popular, and I think for good reason. So let's dive into why they're so good and how they hold up after about 1.5 years of use. So I got my Bostons about 1 year ago, and I honestly wanted something that I could wear with a little bit more arch support while I was cooking. But once I got them, I found myself wearing them a ton, kind of all over the place. There are a couple reasons for that, I think. So let's dive into some of the pros right away. I think the biggest reason that people get into Birkenstocks is definitely because of comfort. The soles that are in Birkenstocks and the soles that are in these Bostons are really contoured so that they match your foot shape. And over time, the more you wear it, the more they become adapted to your foot specifically. It's harder to see with the Bostons, but like if I stick my hand in there, you can actually start feeling the little indents of where my toes sit. Birkenstock goes into a lot of detail when it comes to the design of the shoe. There's a deeper heel cup, which is supposed to hold your foot in a more natural position. And then there's arch supports along the side that are supposed to keep you stable as your foot rolls through a step. For me, it took a little bit of time right out of the box for me to kind of get the comfort and the design behind the soles. They weren't very comfortable for me right out of the box. But over time, I really started to realize that the soles and the cork that it was made out of was really starting to mold to my own foot. And now they really just feel like I'm not wearing shoes at all. And the cork and the construction brings me actually to the next pro that I have, which are the materials in these Bostons. As you might know, I'm a big fan of leather and trying to have as much natural materials in my clothing as possible. Maybe that's a little bit naive of me and an idealized sense of being eco-friendly, but hey, it's at least worth trying. As I mentioned, the soles are made from cork, and besides the outer sole, which is made out of an EVA plastic, the whole thing is pretty much made out of natural materials. In addition to the cork, my pair in particular have the suede leather that wraps around the top. I got this lighter suede, which I found to be a little bit more versatile, and it seems to hide wear a little bit more than a smooth leather would. Birkenstock goes pretty far with making sure that you can wear their shoes for a long time. Recently, we got my wife's pair actually resoled, and besides just needing the new EVA outsole, the rest of the shoe was in great condition. It takes a little bit of work. There's some conditioning products that you can get from Birkenstock or from others to ensure that the cork stays sealed and that it doesn't get too gross. But as long as you pay attention to it, you can swap out pretty much every part of the shoe and keep wearing it for years to come. Especially because these are shoes that are supposed to be contoured to your foot, like I was saying earlier. It's really important that you can still wear something without having to go through that break-in process again. I actually saw a video by the channel Future Proof, I'll link that down in the description, where he took his Birkenstocks in to get them resold, and that's kind of how I found out about their incredible repairability. Now, style. Style, I know, is subjective, and I feel like a little bit ago, Bostons were definitely a little weird and not in trend. But in the past year or so, I think Bostons have really taken off. The best part for me, I think, is that I can wear them pretty much anywhere. They're the shoe I turn to when I want to take out the trash, but they're also the shoe that I could reach for if I want to think a little bit more about my outfit. There are plenty of creators in Bostons who show them off as a perfect casual shoe, whether it's pairing them with some wide pants or just with some socks and shorts. I think they work great with the current wide pant trend that is in right now. I like to pair them with some light wash denim or mix up the materials with these corduroy pants, or sometimes just rock them with a pair of sports shorts for a quick jaunt to the store. Now, honestly, there's only one real gripe that I had with the Bostons. Sure, I think on my pair, you're seeing a little bit of weird wear on the EVA sole, but I think that has more to do with me than they do with the shoe. About 1 year ago, I got my foot scanned. Turns out I kind of have a weird way of stepping, but hey, that's a me problem, not a shoe problem. The thing that I found that was kind of frustrating with these is I honestly found the sizing was really, really weird. For most of my life, I've been a pretty consistent size when it comes to sneakers and boots. I've worn a size 10 in sneakers, worn a 9.5 in boots, and that hasn't changed. However, with the Bostons, I really struggled finding a good fit. They have two types of shoes. They have the wide foot and the narrow foot, and neither of them really work for me right out of the box with my regular size. When you convert size into European sizing, I'm a 43 and have been all the time. I wear a 43 in my European cycling shoes, for example. Yet for the Bostons, I found that I had to go 2 sizes down to a 41 instead of a 43. I also had to create an extra hole in the little strap piece that goes over the top. Now, this just might be me having weird feet and weird sizing problems, but if you're looking at getting Bostons, I highly recommend that you go to a store and try them on. There's a lot of different variations between narrow and wide foot, like I mentioned earlier, and I feel like there's a lot of variations between the way the foot gets cupped depending on their models. Finally, I think a real sign of success is how many other brands have some sort of Boston look-alike. I think you're starting to see mules and a lot of high-end brands like Henderscheme and APC that kind of take the Boston formula and bring it to much higher levels with fancier leathers or more handmade construction. But you're also seeing the Boston look in some of the more affordable and approachable brands. You have Crocs and their signature Croc plastic, and then you have New Balance. New Balance made mules? Alright. Mules, I think, in general, are kind of having a bit of moment. And why wouldn't they? Our wardrobes are getting much more casual as time goes on, and mules are the perfect shoe where you can just slip them on and not think about it. And in the case of the Bostons, you can slip them on, not think about it, and they still look pretty good at the end of the day. And so that does it for today's video. This was just a little look back on my pair of Bostons, why I really like them, and how they've held up over about 1.5 years of wear. I know I'll be kicking around in my Bostons for a long time to come, and I'm honestly kind of excited to get to the point where I do need to repair them. And looking at how thin the outsole is on my pair, that might be coming around pretty soon. But as always, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe on this video. It's been about 1 year now of me doing YouTube. Hasn't been super consistent, but we're working on that. Regardless, let me know your thoughts on the Bostons, if you have them, what you've liked, what you've disliked. And until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.